Well, hello and welcome to our backyard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. This is tour number 26 of 2025. It's August 29th and it's a Friday morning. Absolutely beautiful weather, perfectly clear blue skies, about 70 degrees. It really could not be nicer weather for a tour like this. And well, this is actually the last video for August. We're starting long Labor Day weekend, and it's really kind of one of the last hurrahs for summer. And some things have finished up, like our little garden coming up out of concrete. Our snapdragons have finished up. We had these yellow ones that had been blooming since April. They're done now. We had a few cleome that were blooming, but they're finished as well. So we've got these cleome that are actually in dirt, still blooming for a while at least. And that's really about it in this bed. We always start here at the side of the garage and work our way down the hill. This is a bed where I'm going to need to do a lot of work, probably as soon as things are finished blooming. Really the only thing that's blooming right now is this canna, and it's giving us a few flowers, not a lot. It's got some sort of parasite on it, but unfortunately it's so invasive. It has just come up here randomly, along with holly, and I don't want anything to mess up our irises. Fortunately, the irises are fairly hardy, so they usually come back pretty nicely. Now, one advantage of coming out here fairly early, and it's not even 9:30 yet, we're getting a chance to see some of these morning glories before they wither in the sun. This batch here on the side of the house, these are all kind of a nice pale blue color, kind of the traditional color that you expect out of morning glories, and they will wither up before too much longer, now that the sun is out. Most of our videos take place a little bit later in the morning, and usually we've lost these, but there are quite a few of them, and they're looking really, really nice. I don't know if I would recommend morning glories, as you can kind of see here, and it's kind of hard to visualize with the shadows, but they have a way of taking over just about everything around them. They're extremely invasive. They grow very quickly. This one is growing up the side of the house, and it does have at least a couple of flowers on it, but I'm not sure that the number of flowers justifies the volume of plant material here, and how much ground they cover, because they will take over just about everything. We have a big, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a tree or a bush or a weed or what, but it has these unique flowers on it that turn into these little seed pods, and it's kind of a pretty plant. I just don't know what it is, and I don't know anything about it. This has all come up in the last 3 months, and it's gotten to be huge. It's covered a large area. We had one here that was kind of doing the same thing. In fact, this one came up first, but it's gotten completely covered up by the morning glories. So I might have to kind of take them away. I'm going to leave this flower, try to let it survive. I don't know if it's an annual or a perennial. No idea. Don't know anything about it. So it'll be a little bit of an experiment. That's one of the experiment. I don't think that came out right. That's one of the things that's cool about gardening. You don't always have all the answers, and you just kind of try some different things and see what works. Now over here, hey, we've got a nice little friend here, our little lizard. And he doesn't really want to be on camera. He's just peeking his head up. He's trying to sell some Geico insurance, which you need to find a different time and place to do that, little guy. We get a lot of lizards around here, which is fine with me because they eat spiders, and that makes me a happy guy. So hydrangeas, our 4 big ones here, are doing really well. And unfortunately, they have gotten to be so big, so extensive, that they are kind of taking over this whole section of bed. And this time of year, that's not such a problem because most of the other things in this bed are spring related. These lilies here, they're all obviously long since finished. We have digitalis down here, quite a few of them that have grown and spread, but those are all primarily spring related, so not anything troublesome with these hydrangeas taking over this time of year. They're not quite so huge in the springtime, but by now, once they've put out all these flowers, they're pretty massive. This one right here is about 8 feet tall, and we just put it in about 4 years ago. And as I frequently will point out, our neighbors next door have one. I don't know how long it's been there, but it's about I'd say 15 feet tall. I mean, it's really gone from being a bush to more of a tree. And again, it's just covered with those beautiful flowers. About the only other thing that's really worth looking at in this area is the butterfly bush. We have 2 of them. The one, though, has been so thoroughly covered up by the hydrangeas that it's not really doing much, but this one is still blooming, still giving us these beautiful magenta colored flowers, at least for another couple of weeks, if not longer. We have a few impatiens down here on the ground that we put in back in the spring. I think this will probably be the last year that we do impatiens, because they just have not done that well. Last year, they did a little bit better. We had a cluster right in this area that did well, but these have just not. I think the weather this summer was not terribly favorable for them. It was very hot, and it just didn't really give them a chance to really take off like we had hoped. So probably won't do that again. Now we do have a nice calla lily right here. This one just kind of spread on its own, and it's done for the year in terms of blooming, but it'll be nice to have that back next year. And then we have our 6 azaleas, which just have a few flowers on them right now, but these are going to really start to bloom fully in probably another 6 weeks or so, I'm guessing. So we're going to look forward to that. But right now we're just getting kind of a little bit of a tease. These azaleas are fantastic in that they are they bloom twice a year, so you get a lot of color, and we enjoy that very thoroughly. Now, I was able to get out here last weekend and do a little bit of cleaning. I want to do that for the entire yard. I just have not had a chance until now. But I got back in here and really kind of cleaned this area up. It had a lot of vines from across the fence that were just kind of trying to take over, and so cleared that out, and some weeds and some other things. There's a lot more of that to go. I've got to get down into this bed, which I'm not looking forward to. We're going to see that again in a minute when we go down to the lake. But even a yard this size, which is only half an acre, it just takes a tremendous amount of work to keep up with weeds and brush and dead stuff, and just try to maximize the plants that you have. And I got back in this area and cleaned this up a little bit too. And some more azaleas in here, but there's going to be a lot of work to do in the coming weeks before winter sets in. And we've got here in South Carolina, we've probably got another 3 months of nice weather before we get to winter, fortunately. And we've got some zinnias through here. These were put in from seed last spring, and they've done well. I've got our one knockout rose that's doing really well. The bright red flowers on it. It has not gotten as big as it once was. It was easily 2 or 3 times this size until last year when a beaver came in and pretty much chewed the whole thing down. But it has come back. It just has not gotten to be quite as big. I have a feeling next year it will be. We'll find out. Now this little woodland flower here, these little pink flowers, are really pretty. Don't know what they are. They've been in for a couple of years. We just bought them randomly at a greenhouse. I don't even know which one, and I just never caught the name of them, but they're very pretty. Now, up here you can barely see this in the sunlight, but the climbing rose, the pink ones, are coming out. We're going to see that again closer to the house, but this time of year we're getting a lot of those pink flowers coming out, which is great. We've got a climbing rose here, different type, not a miniature. Gives us these beautiful and very fragrant pink flowers. Down here we still have a few spiderwort that are blooming, and overall these have done very well. They like this spot. And here's an interesting thing. Now if you watched any of our videos last year, you remember we had a lot of vinca. And vinca is this very pretty green little ground cover type plant. It usually gives you tons and tons of flowers. They did not come up this year. I don't know why. I don't know if it was the weather or what, but they really, none of them came back, and we didn't put any in. But this one has come back and given us a flower, which is just kind of interesting. Now, I mentioned that little woodland ground cover plant over on the other side. This is a similar one. This is a little more of a dark pink color, and so we have several of those. Again, I don't know the name of it. We have some Veronica over here, but they're finished up. You can see this is the one that has a little bit of purple on it. Bumblebees love these, but they're finished up now. We have one little pink rose back in there. Unfortunately, we've got a maple tree growing right in the middle of everything. So again, I have a lot of work to do to cut all the trees out of these beds and really give these flowers a good chance to survive. Nice bright red rose here. Got a couple more that are on the verge of coming out, but you know, we would have more. I just have not had a chance to deadhead all these gigantic seed pods, and that's what I need to do if I want to get more flowers. Got a lot of calla lilies here, but they're all done for the year. Another butterfly bush over here. Now this one started a little bit later, so it has more flowers on it. And I do see a butterfly flapping around back in there, a huge one. That's one of the bigger butterflies that I've seen. I don't know how good of a view we're gonna get. And then as soon as I said that, he took off. But he's still floating around back in there. But yeah, they are called butterfly bushes for a reason. And they'll still give us these beautiful purple flowers for probably at least through mid-September, if not longer. Now this area is pretty much done. We had a bunch of zinnias back in here, but something came through. I don't know if it was a deer or something else, and just ate them all up about maybe 3-4 weeks ago, unfortunately. Now we've got an issue over here. I'm not sure what's going on. Got a section of come back here through our weeping cherry. Something has died here, but I don't know what it is. It looks like it might have been a clematis. Big mass of dead plants there. That's something I'll have to clear out. Looks like the wisteria here is doing okay, so that's good. This is an area that's sort of like the Wild West. I don't do a lot back in here, and it shows. All this canna, I need to clear that out. I don't want it spreading outside of this area that's kind of demarcated by the railroad ties, because they will take over very quickly. And it looks like they are just about done for the year anyway. We were still, even last week, we were still getting a lot of these yellow flowers. There's a couple of them left right now, these very tropical looking flowers. It looks like the larger plants that put out the red flowers, I think they're done. I don't see a single one out now. And yeah, I think they're about finished. Now, here we have black-eyed Susans still blooming. They peaked, I think, a couple of weeks ago. The ones in the front yard, if you looked at our other video, they are peaking right now, which is really nice, because it gives us some nice background color. But this area really, this I call it the terraced area of our backyard. Terraced, not terrorist. This is about done outside of these yellow flowers. I need to do a ton of work back in here. We've got canna, we've got maple trees, and a lot of other weeds coming out of this. And I had this area looking really nice back in the spring. I put in extensive work, but unfortunately, this summer has been just crazy as far as new weeds coming in. And I want our daylilies to do better this year. Looks like they're trying to come back. I think they struggled a little bit with the heat that we had midsummer. I mean, it was close to 100 degrees on quite a few days, and a lot of plants just don't do well with that. Now, from this side, as we look back up at these climbing roses, you can kind of see some of the pink color coming out. And again, we're going to see that a little closer, close to the house. And while we're down here, I'm just going to take a quick look and see what our water lily is doing. And the answer is not much. The weeds around it, all these grasses, have kind of taken over. But you can still see the leaves down in there. There's one flower bud that's bloomed a few days ago, I think early in the week, and it's just kind of sitting there. And that's typically what they do. The bud closes up after a few hours, and then it takes a few days to settle back down. And then about a week later, another one comes up. They're not prolific from the standpoint of flowering, but they are really cool. And I would be willing to get a couple more of those to put in. They're very low maintenance. You just plop the bucket of roots into the water and it does the rest. You just want to get one that's hardy, ideally, that lasts through the winter. Because if you get one that's just a single year, it'll an annual, that it'll die off. They're pretty though, and they're probably worth the money either way. Big knockout rose here, but it's finished for the year. Tons of seed pods again. I just have not cut them down. And this bed is probably more weeds than actual flowers at this point. We put in really good soil, so unfortunately it tends to give us as many weeds as good flowers. In the spring it's great. By this time of the year I just kind of give up on it, but I'm going to get back in here later in the fall and really try to clear it out before next spring comes. We do have a few little Veronica growing here, those little purple ones. What else do we have? Some marigolds still giving us some color, and these beautiful pink zinnias right in here, just kind of sticking up out of nowhere. Some more marigolds here. One white rose back in there that you can see, and a different type of, there's actually a walk here, believe it or not. We have a stone walk. It is so completely covered by weeds you can't even tell. But this is another morning glory that has kind of taken over this area, but it's giving us white, pure white flowers, which is kind of cool. So we have the light blue with the white, and then we have the purple ones out in the front yard. That was in our previous video. And here, I'm just noticing kind of out of the blue, we have some tomatoes giving us some nice flowers. We haven't had too much. I think I've had a total of like 5 actual tomatoes, little cherry tomatoes this year. Very different than a few years ago when we were getting as many as 200 or 300. They just have kind of, I don't know, just withered away. But again, this weather, the weather this year has not been overly favorable. Some more morning glories here. These again pure white, and then we have this one right in here, kind of hidden a little bit. Has a little kind of light pink throat to it, which is kind of cool. Here, more of the climbing roses, the little pink ones. Now, here they get bleached by the sun, and they're all that light pink color. But what I noticed last night, and I had not seen this before, and I'm hoping it'll still be the case as we come up the stairs, an area that's not as exposed to the sun. We actually had a couple of different on the same plant, we have a couple different shades. We have the darker pink and we have the lighter pink. And this is without any exposure to the sun. So this is actually a little more complex of a plant than I had realized. Once they're out in the sun like these on a regular basis, they get pretty bleached, so they're all the same pale pink color. And you kind of see the two shades again over here. And that's that. Now I don't come up here on the deck very often. There isn't a whole lot to see. This is where we grew most of our plants this spring. Still just have a lot of marigolds, few morning glories, and a few petunias that are left in this little pot. And then here we had a wisteria branch that we put in there just to see if it would grow. Got some more marigolds over in here. Actually some mint in this area. We were going to put that in the house and we found it had aphids on it. So we got that right back out here again. And that's really about it. So that is our backyard for this week. Things doing well. Again, for pretty typical look for this time of year. Still a lot of flowers to see. It's not the prolific color like we get in the spring, but it's still definitely worth taking a look. And there we go. So until next week, hope it's sunny wherever you are, and happy gardening.